Got it.
Okay. Okay, so we're still in introductory phase in the sense that everything that we're learning right now, more than just dissecting the verses and understanding the verses, we're really getting principles that that Shlomo Melech is going to be using for the rest of his teaching, for the rest of the Sefer. So if you remember what we did one of the things we did in the beginning was that we said that the first three verses was really Shlomo Melech identifying himself. And we spent a lot of time explaining what that identification was. He was giving his credentials. Mishlei Shlomo ben David Melech Yisrael, Ladas Chachma Musa Lahavinim Revina. That's the three-pronged attack. And Lakachas Musar Haskel Tzedek Mishpat Umesharim. So that was his credentials. And then Shlomo Melech wants to tell us who he's speaking to. Now there's a third pasuk, which for some reason when I cut and paste, I didn't put the sixth verse on, but I'll just read to you. Pasuk Dalet, pasuk 8, it's up on the screen. Okay, hopefully everybody sees it. It's up on the screen. And the pasuk Dalet and Hey is as follows. So who is Shlomo's audience? So Shlomo's audience is, let's say, Musar, Haskel, Tzedek, let's say, Lefisayim Arma, to give to the psayim, which is a hard word to translate. We're going to talk about why, but we'll call it right now simpletons, arma, to give them cleverness, linar das umezima, and to a nar, we want to give him das umezima. Yishma chacham, the chacham will hear. The Yosef lekach, and he will increase his learning. V'novon tachbulos yikneh, and a discerning one will acquire strategies. And all of that is lahavin mashal u'malitza, so that they will understand parable and epigram, divrei chachamim v'chidosav, the words of the wise and their enigmas. Okay, so what I want to focus on today is that who is the audience of Mishlei? When Shlomo Melech is describing his audience, who is his audience? So the audience is, there are four names that appeared in those two verses. By the way, one of the goals that I have is to give you a little glimpse, and it's a larger goal of the whole Sefer Mishlei, but to give you a little glimpse of how to study Tanakh. And that it's more than just reading and translating and getting a small meaning from it. And I'm talking about stories, and I'm talking about verses like these. The way to read it is that you have to be, especially in the book of Mishlei, Shlomo Melech wrote this with Ruach HaKodesh, with divine inspiration, and with the gift of wisdom that God had given him. And therefore, in every turn of every phrase, there is a message. So if I were to ask you, use all your abilities to interpret. You can do it from the English. So then what would you say is the theme of verse, I've given you a lot about this, but verse 4 and verse 5, what is the theme, the understanding of verse 4 and verse 5? It's the audience, is what this book will do for its audience. Why did I write this book, says Shlomo Melech? Because I did it to give to the simple shrewdness, to give to the young knowledge and foresight, to give to the wise, and they'll hear them and they'll gain more wisdom, and to a discerning person to be more understanding and discerning. Okay, how could you have said that? If you were writing this, what would you have said? That I'm writing this book for all people. For all people. Could have saved 2 verses, right? Made the thing shorter. Just write succinctly. I'm writing this for all people because everybody has something to get from it. What would you not have learned if you said that? You wouldn't have learned what the different types of people would get. Because don't tell me that a fool is going to get the same thing as a wise person. Don't tell me that the fool's reaction to the Mishalim is going to be exactly the same as the wise person's. Therefore, the fool is going to get something, it's going to uplift him, and the wise person is going to uplift him. But the uplifting is going to be very different for the two of them. Well, I wouldn't have gotten that if you gave me this general statement of that it's just to help people. Okay, that's a great opening. But then look at the words very carefully now. What are the psaim going to get? What are the fools going to get? Arma. They're going to get shrewdness. What do I want a fool to get? Wisdom. I want him to become smart. Shrewd? I need to make shrewd people? What's that about? Okay, and what's it going to give to the nar? It's going to give to the youngster. It's going to give das umezima. It's going to give knowledge and foresight. Again, why am I giving a nar something so deep called das, which we'll explain in a few minutes? But why am I giving him something so deep? Just give him the simple stuff. Give him info. What's info? Info is chachma. Why to the nar is he getting das and mirma? Yishma chacham v'yosef lekach. To the chacham, I want him to get more lekach. I want him to get more wisdom. And to the navon, to the discerning, understanding person, I want to give him tachbulos, which is really like ways of understanding, the ways of understanding things, and strategies. Right? Tachbulos is really translated as strategies. That's what I want to get at this. Mishalem, get strategies. Strategies to what? To make $1 million. Strategies to win a war. What am I giving him? What's tachbulos? But you see the rhythm and the pattern of the verses. To give to this one this, and this one this. To give to this one this, and this one this. Okay, but why is it that the psayim, look at the words, the verbs, right? Look at the words that we're using to give. So laseis is for the psayim, and for the na'ar. Both of them are laseis. For the chacham, it's shema, and for the navon, it's tachbulos. You see that? That you could have written it that to give to the psayim, to give to the child, to give to the chacham, to give to the navon. Right? You could have said laseis to all of them. You could have said yishma, or you could have said lekach. Right? You could have said yikne, should acquire. The words could have been the same. So what does that tell you? The fact that the words aren't the same. That means that the word loses is telling me what a pesi can handle. And the word loses is telling me what a na'ar can handle. Yishma is the way a chacham can handle, and yikne is the way a navon can handle. So the words are very specific to how to teach them, what to teach them, and what they're going to get out of it. Shlomo Melech is also telling us something, that how many major categories of personality types or learning types are there? 4. There's the Pesi, the Nar, the Chacham, and the Navon. Now, if you look through the book of Mishlei, he calls these people many other kinds of names. He's got many, many, many different names for people. But if you wanted to categorize them, you could categorize them under these 4. Okay, so now let's take the next step forward. Who are these 4? Before I get into what I'm teaching them, before I get into what tachbulos are, I have to break apart every one of these verses, every one of these phrases. But before I break them apart, I just have a simple piece of information that I need to work out. Who are they? Who is this chacham? So what would you call a chacham? Come on, Pirkei Avos people. What would you call a chacham? Somebody who learns from every other person, right? That was one level of chacham. Somebody who sees what's not yet on the table. Somebody who can see into the future. In other words, can recognize the ramifications of their deeds, right? We learned that. We learned a lot about chachma. Well, to which chacham is Shlomo HaMelech talking about? Oh, that's excellent, Marion. Marion just put up on the chat, I want to suggest that the real meaning of Pitayim is not simple, but the people who have not yet reached the point. Okay, I will argue with you in a few minutes. Pisayim, if I'm correct, means something like the entrance to. That's a petach. A peti, the way I say it, a pesi, but a peti is. That's really interesting. Patim, that's very, very interesting. But a pesi is really, we say in the verse, Shomer Psoyim Hashem, that God watches over Psoyim, right? Pesis. It's translated often as fools. I will show you why in a minute. Okay, but let's understand who it is that we're talking about. Again, because I just take the word chacham and I tell you, it's going to do this for a chacham. So for you, what you're going to do in your mind, you're going to say, if it's doing that for a chacham, then this is what it must mean. But that's only if that's what the chacham is. If I were to ask you, look at the Haggadah and tell me who a chacham is, who's the chacham's? Who's the Haggadah's chacham? By the way, when I ask these questions, you're more than welcome to answer. who is the chacham? I'm only jumping in because nobody's taking their own mute off. But who's the chacham in the Haggadah? The chacham knows nothing in the Haggadah. Did you know that? Yes, you knew that. I spoke about it. The chacham doesn't know a thing. The chacham described in the Haggadah is not what we call the wise son, and we assume that wise means that the kid's he could write an encyclopedia of Torah knowledge. Because if he did, then he wouldn't have to ask the question about what are you guys doing. You know what we're doing. We're having a seder because you're a chacham. So why would you ask that question? That's a stupid question for you because you're a chacham. No, a chacham is somebody who desires to learn. If you remember, we spoke once about the concept that God gives wisdom to the wise. So there was a Roman matron that went to Rabbi Yossi Bar Chalafta and she said, God gives wisdom to the wise? Give wisdom to the stupid, not to the wise. The people that have no brains, they need a little shtickle wisdom. The guys who are smart already, it's Colston, Newcastle, right? You bring them wisdom, they have wisdom. So the explanation is a long explanation, but the simple explanation is what he said to her was that God gives wisdom to the wise because the wise have shown that they have a desire for wisdom. It's not that they've shown that they are successful with their wisdom, that they have a mass of wisdom, but that they desire wisdom. The Rabbeinu Yonah says it's straight. The Rabbeinu Yonah in Pirkei Avos says that a person who loves learning is called a chacham. And if the Rabbeinu Yonah didn't say it, I never could have said it. It doesn't matter what you know. It matters why you want to know it. And if you want to know it because you have a desire for chachma, then you can know nothing and still be called a chacham. So which chacham is the Mishlei talking to? Is Mishlei talking to the Pirkei Avos chacham? Is he talking to the general chacham, the Torah's chacham? Like who's he talking to? So I think we have to do that for the four of them. I'm going to just show you something which I hope you can see. I made a little chart which I'm going to try to provide tomorrow on the chat. Can everybody see that? Or is it too far away? Too Okay. I'll try to do it bigger. You know what? You know how I can do it? I can do it as shared screen, and then I can make the screen bigger. 1 second. No.
The size of the writing is good.
You need to have it electronically, Rabbi, to share it on the screen.
Yeah, I just realized that. Not as quick as I look. Yeah, I just got that. Okay. Fine.
You want to learn, Rabbi. You're a chacham.
Is it hoisted by my own petard? Okay. Nope, that's not working. Oh, I don't know what I just did. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Stop share. There we go. Okay, back. So I'll do it verbally now, and then I'll show you this tomorrow. But if you follow the Pesukim, what you're going to find is if you write them in columns, so then you're talking to the Pesi, the Nar, the Chacham, the Navon. The Pesi is going to receive Arma, The nar is going to receive das and a mezima. The chacham is going to get Yosef das, increased knowledge, and the novon is going to get tachbulos. He's going to get strategies. The way that the pesi is going to get it, and the nar, from Nasan. The way the chacham is going to get it, from Yishma. And the way that the novon is going to get it is from Yikna. I just took those pesukim and dissected them in as clear a way as I possibly could. Again, I'm going to share this with you tomorrow because when you see it with your eyes, it'll be very clear. So now let's deal with the first column. Who is the nar, the chacham, the pesi? Now, Marion did a great thing for us because what she showed us was as follows. The most important thing that Marion showed us is that there are, for every one of these that I'm going to tell you, there are numerous commentaries that have an explanation of the word. Rashi has explanations of these words. The Rabbeinu Yonah has explanations of these words. The Vilna Gaon has explanations of these words. These are the major commentaries that I go to when I study, and they all have a different view, and the Malbim, and they all have a different view of what these might be. What I've tried to do is to take them all together and to sort of shoot to the middle of what's common between all of them to give a little description. So Marion, will I be off sometimes? And even when I describe a pesi, can there be other descriptions of a pesi? There definitely can. But what I'm trying to describe is what the common theme in the commentary is for these four. Okay, with that said, let's take a look at the nar. So the nar is a person, actually, I'm sorry, I want to start with the pesi. So the pesi, because he's the first one listed in the Pesukim, the pesi is, we call him a simple person. Now, what does a simple person mean? When I say the word simple person, so I think that most of you think a person's nicht zu klug, not the smart, not the brightest candle in the box, right? You know, it's whatever, simple, not really, not like very straightforward, very simple, not really deep understanding, nice person, like that. That's what we use the word pesi, but it's not what it means when we translate it as a simpleton. There's a certain naivete that the pesi describes. The pesi is naive. He's also, the word pesi is also from the word mitpatet. It's from the word to seduce, pitui, right? To be misfata, to seduce a woman, right? So the word pesi is a person who's seduced, and he's seduced by his own emotions. Basically, he believes anything. He could be swayed to anything. Give him a good argument, give him an emotional plea, a passionate plea, and you can sway him and move him. The pesi doesn't think deeply about things. The pesi really is more reactive. And that's why the pasuk says, Shomer Psoyim Hashem, God has to watch over these people because they could end up harming themselves, because they could be pushed into things that they're not really connected or wedded to, but because somebody gave them a good argument or somebody induced them and enticed them into going in a certain way. The pesi is extremely subject to external influences. Now, again, I'm describing him as Shlomo HaMelech uses him contextually in the book of Mishlei. The principle that drives his life can be summed up as follows. If it feels good, then it's true. And if it feels good, then it's good. And if it feels bad, then it's bad. And if it feels false, then it's false. In other words, he's very much an emotional person and very much, being dragged by what's going on around him. The pesi is very similar. We're going to see his brothers or his cousins later, an ovil and a nar. The nar we're going to see today, actually, but they share similarities. He and the nar can both be influenced by Mishlei, and that's why if you look at the pasuk, the pesi and the nar are in the same pasuk. They're in the same verse, because the pesi and the nar, their issues are similar, and therefore they can be fixed in the similar kind of way. The pesi, because he's so malleable, he can be guided to become a chacham or a tzaddik. Knows you can do a lot with a pesi. A pesi is what we call a mum over. It is a blemish that will pass. He's got it now, but it's not necessarily going to stay with him, because you can fix that, and you don't have to dig deep in him. You don't have to do major frontal lobe surgery with a pesi. All you got to do is you got to stick something in his head, and that's why it says laseis the pesi. Because what does it mean to give laseis? Laseis is not, it's not something deep and dramatic. Laseis, I'm giving it to you. You just put it in his head. Put the truth in his head. Put the good ideas in his head. He's not an intellectual, so you can't give him intellectual stuff. Tell him mishalim. Tell him these allegories and parables. Tell him cutesy kind of things that he can remember, epigrams that he can remember. Okay, for this reason, Shlomo Melech included the Pesi in his audience, because there is no other fool in the audience, by the way. In other words, in the four people, he's the representative of the fools, because he's the healthiest of the fools. But all fools fall really into the same disease. We'll see that as we unfold Mishlei. So what does the Pesi need? If we say that the Pesi is a person who can be easily influenced, so what does he need ultimately? He needs arma. He needs to learn how to become clever. He needs a sifter, a filter. He needs to know what's truth and what's not truth. He needs to know how to discern between things that are really right and things that aren't, and that somebody is just trying to convince me of something, but they have no basis. He needs to have a little bit of cleverness to him. So that's what Shlomo Melech is saying. Loses, to give, all you need, you don't need to work hard, just put it in his head. But what do you need to put in his head? Arma. He's got to learn how to be clever. He's got to learn how to be a little more discerning, how to understand things and what people are saying to him, how to be a little bit more selective, and a little bit more to be able to dissect things more. Okay, beautiful. That's the first one. And now you understand, I hope, now you understand, or at least we're opening it up to understand why to a Pesi we use the word laseis lipsayim arma. Because that's the method that he needs to learn by. Laseis, just give it to him. Talk to him. Just tell him. Because that's how you can influence him. And what do you need to influence him? Arma. You got to give him some smart things to follow that he can use as measuring sticks for the world. Okay, who's our nar? Our nar, he's no fool, the nar. Marion, the way you were describing the Pesi is more the way that Shlomo Melech describes a nar. That the nar is anything. The nar could become, he's pre-Pesi. He's also pre-Chacham. He's also pre-Novon. He just doesn't have enough in him yet. He's immature. And he's he's really a regular person. When we call a person a nar and we say you're being a nar, what do we mean? You're being a child. Those of you that know Yiddish expressions, what do you call, like when an adult person is saying stupidity? You're just saying Narishkeit. So I can't say that this is the root of the word, that it's nar, but the concept is the same. No, you're saying something that you haven't thought out, something that you're just like a child. You're just reacting. You're just saying. It's going often sing, often ling, right? It's coming from the tongue out to the mouth, and that's it. There's no filter. There's no anything, because you don't know enough. There's not enough there. Always marvel when my students will say words like, "This doesn't make sense." You know what doesn't make sense? that you would say the words, this doesn't make sense. In other words, the proper words are, you look at it and you say, I don't understand that. But the fault is me. I don't understand. I don't have enough inside my head to understand it. There's nothing wrong with this, I would assume, because it was written by Shlomo Melech and was put inside the Bible. So I got to assume it's perfect. But I'm missing something because I'm not yet fully developed. The Nar doesn't recognize that. The Nar doesn't understand. The term youth is not a reference to age, but it's a reference to wisdom. Just like we learned together that the word zaken is not a reference to age, but it's reference to wisdom. Zek kana chachma, remember? So no matter what your age are, you could be a zaken. You could be a 25-year-old zaken. It's zek kana chachma. We assume a person when they get to 60, so then that's what we pin it to an age, but it's not really a description of an age. The Nar has had enough life experience to form his own views, right? He can have a lot of his own views and his own personality, his own habits, but he has no chachma, and he has no real understanding, no real wisdom. But he has the ability to get that wisdom. Not yet the desire, so he's not a chacham, but he has the ability. And therefore, you have to open up his eyes. For him also, losses. It's not a hard thing to do. You just got to dump it into his head. But what do you have to dump into his head? You have to put da'as. You have to put knowledge. Here, knowledge doesn't mean just info. Here, knowledge means the ability to be able to be discerning. I'll talk about this more tomorrow. But the ability to be able to be discerning, and mizima, that you have to give him an ability, a design. What does that mean, a design? That means you've got to give him a structure, how to understand the stuff that he's going to be getting. Another important lesson that we get out of the way I'm unfolding this is chanoch lenar al pi darko, that you have to educate a child according to their needs. That doesn't mean that I teach different material. That means I teach it in a different way with a different goal for every student. I don't change anything. It's the same Mishlei, but it will have an effect on the Pesi in a different way that it has on the Nar. Because the Nar already has certain basic things that the Pesi doesn't have. The Nar is not so easily influenced like the Pesi, but the Nar is more developed. He has more of an ability to be able to learn, and therefore a mashal to a guy like that is going to give him da'as u'mezima. He's going to be able to use the mashal. He's going to be able to look into it. He's going to be able to dissect it and to be able to apply it to other things. Okay. I hate it when this happens. I'm like smack in the middle of a thought of unfolding. We'll get it tomorrow. Mitzvah Hashem. I'll try to put us right back into the spot tomorrow. Also try to provide the chart so it's sometimes a little bit easier to see it visually. And we'll pick up we'll review these two and then pick up with the next two. And then again, I want us to walk away with an appreciation for word choices, that Shlomo Melech wasn't saying phrases. He wasn't saying general things, which a lot of times we talk that way. And when people ask us on our words, we say, well, no, I didn't really mean that. In the context, I meant this. Shlomo Melech was not doing that at all. He was being very precise and specific with the choice of every single word and with his phraseology, with the way that he put it all together. Okay. Great. Amazing. Everybody should have a beautiful, amazing, wonderful day. Hold on to these thoughts until tomorrow, and we'll try to fuse them together and see the whole picture. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
My
Shabbat
pleasure.
Chodesh Tov to everybody.
Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov. Everything should be Tov.
That's right.
Thank you. Shavuot Tov.
Bye-bye.